This is not at all what I expected to be doing today. If it were anywhere on my horizon, I might have at least brushed my hair. And since I am currently a member of the WDNC club, I don't care. I forgot to warn you about spoilers. Consider yourself alerted. You might get more information than I intended to share yet, but here we are. Today was definitely not a podcast and use video kind of day. No, today is infusion day. Well, and maybe find time to edit or finish up a client's books or file last year's taxes while I do my infusion kind of day. It's also a day where I have 3 children running in and out of my space in one way or another. And here I sit feeding and monitoring a pump, which it's time to switch. Today is a neat day and a hard day. 7 months ago today, one of my nieces was tragically removed from our world. She had just turned 24. Her loss is devastating, her family and I. Right after her death, I told my nieces and nephews I was going to get weird. I was going to start saying things like, I love you, any chance I could get, really. So when I woke up today with both of my nieces in mind, I had an idea. You are listening to Unpacking the Hope Chest, a new segment of Unboxing Barbie podcast hosted by yours truly, Barbie Wolf. There are some things in life that don't get packed in cardboard. They're meant to last forever. They are sometimes zipped in padded cases in protected boxes, cherished because often they're the foundation of a home or the heirlooms of the heart. Today, I want to carefully unzip one of those cases. I want to talk about love, especially the kind of love I learned from my niece, who will remain nameless for this episode on this, her 37th birthday. I absolutely cannot start this story without giving you some juicy details. My niece was absolutely not supposed to be the firstborn grandchild and great-grandchild. Nope. The person carrying that child, the first grandchild, was supposed to be your humble host. I sure hope I wasn't at least visibly mad at the time. But even if I was, this kid, it was worth letting go of the grudge. There's also a hilarious story here about 5'2" me, due any day, looking like I'm carrying Paul Bunyan's child, waddling into the ER, terrified for my Irish twin. I had just hightailed it 55 miles. Was very worried about her very early baby, the whole way demanding that the nurses not put me in a wheelchair to take me to see my sister. Back to my niece. If you were to see her now, you'd see a woman who, aside from being absolutely beautiful, with a smile that can change your worst mood immediately, pretty much, especially if it's after one of her snark, tactically witty jokes. She's a force of nature, a woman who is as comfortable with a rifle in her hands as she is with a baby on her hips when her geriatric bones allow it. But you would see strength, competence, humor, and a home overflowing with a loud, beautiful, chaotic love. But to truly understand the masterpiece of the life that she has built, you have to understand the cost of some of the materials. You have to know that she and her, I don't have words for how good he is, kind of a husband. They built it all on a foundation that was cracked from the start, in a body that seemed determined to betray her. I don't have permission to share her story. I will, however, let you know that she had a childhood ACEs score above 6, which is not a small or insignificant bit of information. And so if you're not familiar with this concept, please see the show notes. I'll do my very best to add some resources. But at very least, go listen to, read, pick up the book, The Deepest Well by Dr. Nadine Burke Harris. One of the things that has never been a surprise to anyone is how many babies she wanted to raise, which is actually a testament to the amazing job of the cycle breaking that her mom and dad did. and have done. But really, from the very beginning of her relationship with her partner, her dream was simple and vast, a heart that wanted as many kids barefoot and running around their property as her body would carry. But her body fought her. It fought her with an alphabet soup of diagnoses. PCOS, among other things, turned the dream of motherhood into a battle of attrition. Her first pregnancy was a hard-fought victory. A set of twins, a boy and a girl. Two amazing souls who taught her a different kind of love from day one. A few years later, a third child arrived, a daughter who is a whirlwind of fire and spirit, who challenges her in ways my niece probably never expected, and who has expanded her heart in ways she might not have ever known she even needed. And for a moment, the dream was paused by fear, a deep, gnawing fear that her husband, a man who worked in one of the roughest parts of a big city in a risky job, might not make it home. So she made a decision, born of love and fear, really. She asked him to get a vasectomy. She couldn't bear the thought of raising those three children without him. And he, in a profound act of love, truly, said yes. And the heart wants what it wants. A few years later, my niece is sitting across from her husband, and he's holding a tiny 5-pound baby girl, a baby born to her cousin, my own daughter, a baby that needed holding. And in that moment, watching that man holding that life, her own body, her own heart, roared back to life. And the ache returned. That ache led to a reversal, led to a fourth child, a son, who came with his own personality from the very moment he could express it. And as he grew, and my niece's body did all of the things that it had to do to recover and try and keep her and her babies alive, they decided that her body had been through enough. It was time to close the door on any more children for good. But she does not go down easily. So she made one last quiet appeal. She prayed a prayer something like, Lord, you have 6 weeks. Either get me pregnant before his surgery or take this ache out of my heart forever. Her 5th child, another son, was born 9 months later, roughly. Now, the reason this story sits in one of the most protected cases in my hope chest is this. This woman, who is so familiar and suffering in her own body, was also raised in a home that wasn't always supported and safe, despite having 2 parents who were committed to family and to each other. She knew violence. She knew school bullies. She knew the effects of doctors, nurses, and teachers not seeing or catching the fact that she needed eyeglasses. She knew addiction. She knew what it was like to be a child in a world without soft places to land always. And she looked at all of it, trauma of her past, the rebellion of her body, and the fear for her future, and she refused to let it win. She built the soft place. She built the fortress. She built a home filled with barefoot, laughing children, with the support of both sets of their parents, with them every step of the way. They didn't just create a family. This woman and her husband and her heart to see something different broke a generational curse with the sheer force of her will and the unrelenting power of her love. She is healing parts of herself by raising them. She's healing the world by building her own. So, to my niece on her 37th birthday, thank you for sliding into the first great grandchild slot. Grandpa needed you to be the first more than any of us ever knew. Thank you for showing me what it looks like to build a life, not in spite of suffering, but straight through the heart of it. You are a wonder. And the love I have for you always will be a part of the forever packaging. Thank you so much for for listening to this. I really appreciate it. I hope you have the best day.